afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, so yeah, welcome. Thank you for having us here this afternoon. John and I are very excited to be here. As Robert has introduced us, my name is Porchez. I'm the General Manager of Angus Growers. I joined Angus Growers back in 2013 and moved into the General Manager position in autumn of 2018. And I'm very delighted to say that my first task when I got in the door was to join SAOS. So I think it's the best move that we've made. Shortly after joining SAOS, I did take the Cooperative Management and Practice course with SAOS. And loved it that much that I went on to do my certificate in Cooperative Management with St Mary's. But only after Robert did it first, so I could see whether or not it was too hard to do. And I think it was green when I got stuck. So I'm very pleased that we're here to tell you about what we do. And we hope that this shows you that Angus Growers and Angus Soft Fruits are a good example of a private company working with a cooperative, hand in hand, to deliver more than the sum of its two parts. So I will hand you over to John, who will tell you a little bit about his role and Angus Soft Fruits.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? It's a lot higher up here than it looks down. So, I'd just like to thank the morning speakers. We at Angus Soft Fruits have actually used Ali's tool, and we actually found it a lot more useful than we expected when we saw how many boxes we were going to have to fill in. But it did quickly. And also Jed, who operates in the world that I operate in, and we've actually used Jed to train some of our team. We're still getting there in the art of saying no, which is extremely challenging in fresh produce, particularly strawberries, but we're getting there. I might manage it when we stick to paddling. We'll just move forward. As Robert said, I cut my teeth farming in Poland back in the late 90s before Poland joined the EU, so a very different place then. And I came back in 2003 to Angus Soft Fruits as a managing director. And in recent years I've joined the board of Ringling, where I'm now vice chairman. And over the last 4 or 5 years I've been undertaking an upfield scholarship where I've been looking at how we as growers can increase our share of value chain. So, just to give you a bit of background to Angus Soft Fruits. Angus Soft Fruits was established 30 years ago by 3 farmers, Lockie Porter, his father Willie, and his cousin, my father, James Gray. Until then, they sold their fruit to an English marketing agent, but they knew they could do a better job by selling direct to the retailer. So that's what we did. Our mission at Angus Soft Fruits is to deliver great tasting berries that delight our customers each and every day, and that's how we run the business. From humble beginnings in the early 90s, when our season was only just a couple of months long, we've grown to turn over a bit more than £150 million a year. So we sell between 10 and 15% of all the berries sold in the UK, and that's a market with a retail value that's just surpassed £2 billion sterling, so a huge market. Our business is evenly split between UK grown and imported fruit. So we're just as busy today as we are at the height of summer. We have the privilege and in many days the pressure of being vertically integrated. So we're breeders, hardware growers both here in the UK but also overseas. We source from other growers and we market directly to retailers. This vertical integration gives us control over availability, quality, price, variety, and increasingly of importance, ethical and sustainability practices. Core to our success is our fantastic management team. I've got over 90 berry specialists, as we call ourselves, based in Spain, Morocco, Chile, and here in the UK. And that was a recurring theme on my half-year travels, was the impact of investing in people, which unfortunately isn't often the priority in farming. In berries, over 50% of our costs are labour, and I often challenge our growers. Consider how much you spend in training and development, not compliance, training and development. Compare that with how much you spend on engine oil. Both are obviously drive the business forward. Jed mentioned it, but as I said, we've had negotiation training from him. I've also done the SAOS negotiation training, which I would recommend too. I think I sold a silver teapot for £500. I was quite proud of that. So, in the UK, we operate from 2 sites. Our head office is in Arbroath, which is in the centre of our Scottish production area. And then Evesham, south of Birmingham, where our customer base and sales and technical teams are based. We also pack our imported fruit there because it's a lot closer to retailer depots. In the late 90s, we invested in a breeding program, which was a pretty bold step for what was a small business at that time. The program initially focused on strawberries. In 2003, we released the original Ava strawberry variety, which was the first strawberry that we sold in the newly emerging premium tiers. So an example would be saying this Taste the Difference or Test the Finest. This graphic, a little bit hard to read, shows the process. So every year we make hundreds of crosses of different parents. Each have got different characteristics, like yield, disease resistance, fruit size, or flavour. We generate 20,000 seedlings, so each one of those seedlings is a potential new variety, with only one seedling each. And then over the next few years, we go through a series of trials, both internationally and then commercial trials before we can ramp up and roll out through propagation. All in all, it takes between 7 and 10 years to bring a variety to market from initial crops. And we've since diversified into raspberry blackberry breeding. And this is a picture of Ava Money, which we were very proud to launch our first raspberry variety along with its sister, Medallion. Scottish raspberry industry has been in market decline in recent years, with raspberries being so labour intensive. Ava Money is higher yielding, it's more efficient to pick, it's got a big berry size, and it's sweeter, so we get a higher price as we sell it in premium tiers. Staying with the artist theme for a moment, you may have heard the story of Picasso and the napkin. Legend has it that Picasso was at Paris market. He was approached by an admirer who asked him if he could do a quick sketch on a napkin. He duly obliged and handed it back to her, but not for asking for £1 million. She was a bit taken aback. How can you ask for so much? It only took you a few seconds to draw it. It took me 40 years to draw this in 5 minutes, which Picasso supplied. Investment in breeding is considerable, it's not for the faint-hearted. And just as the Renaissance artists were reciting them up in the Middle Ages, Ava Money and Medallion, we started the Renaissance in Scottish raspberry production. Today, the breeding program has been focused on developing varieties which we grow here in the UK, but an exciting departure in recent years has been starting to export our genetics. We're trialling in various countries, and today we've got growers harvesting our strawberry variety in Indonesia, Egypt, Morocco, and in Spain. But first and foremost, for farmers and growers, the owners of the business being members of the Angus cooperative.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about Angus Growers as a co-op. Now, Angus Growers was established in 2002. Was started by 14 soft-fruit growers along the east coast of Scotland, who were originally supplying fruit to Angus soft fruits for sale to supermarkets. The group initially formed as a way of consolidating their produce to go to market. They established themselves, shortly after joining, they established themselves as a producer organisation through the EU's Fruit and Vegetable Aid Scheme, and we became one of the 3 Scottish POs that are still in existence today. When we very first started, so there were 14 growers, they sold approximately £6 million worth of soft fruit. Now, in 2008, that grew to 24 members, and it went up to 32 million. And you'll see from the map behind me, these are our current members, which we have now basically settled on about 16 members. And just to give you an indication, we are now at a turnover of just over £51 million. So between 6 million in 2008 up to 51 million in 2024, big changes. And a lot of that has actually come from working collectively and marketing collectively, but also from being a producer organisation. So I think it's another sort of staggering fact is just to say that because we work collectively, We represent 36% of the soft fruit production in Scotland, which actually makes Angus growers collectively the largest soft fruit producer in Scotland as well.
Okay, thanks, Angus. In addition to Scottish production, we've established several farming joint ventures in other countries. This is all about extending our season. In each case, we have a 50% shareholding in partnership with local grower. So in Somerset, Isle Fruits grows 35 acres of strawberries under heated glass, and that's heated by a 5 megawatt biomass boiler, producing fruit in the spring and the autumn, so either side of our Scottish season. Increasingly, the main counter season to the UK is Morocco, particularly Agadir in the south, where there's a good combination of climate, water and labour. We have 3 farming joint ventures in Morocco with over 250 hectares of raspberries and blueberries between us, where we produce from October to June. Fruit shipped by road via Spain and France takes about between 4 and 5 days to get here to Asia. And then further afield in central Chile, we have a 100 hectare blueberry farm in the SAOS Conference, which means Scottish Stone Mountain. At that farm today, we've got 1,000 pickers harvesting blueberries, which will be cooled, loaded into containers and then shipped by sea, a journey which takes between 4 and 5 weeks. In addition to our own production, our team source from growers in a lot of different countries, so Spain, Portugal, Morocco. We also procure from Egypt and Jordan, Belgium, the Netherlands, Ukraine, Poland, Romania, Chile, Peru, South Africa, Kenya, Guatemala and Mexico. So quite a jigsaw puzzle. Today our team are ranging and tracking several air shipments from Egypt and Mexico, with sea containers arriving from Chile, blueberries, and then several road shipments from Spain and Morocco. The only thing they do know when they start their day is it's not quite going to go according to plan. And with a couple of days to move the fruit when it gets here, there's not much room for error. The majority of our business is supplying UK retailers, including Sainsbury's, Aldi, Morrison's, Asda, Marks and Spencer's, and also Costco. We also supply a number of smaller retailers such as Home Bargains and Spar, and food service operators such as Big Food. One of the biggest learnings from my Nuffield study was the opportunity to build export markets, so it links with what Jed was saying before, particularly in the Middle East and Southeast Asia, where there's a growing middle class. They're unable to grow locally with the climate, so there's a huge opportunity. And if we can export the majority of our salmon, I don't see why we can't do in the future the same with berries. We export now to Europe, but also to Dubai and to Japan and Singapore. Our Magnum strawberries are actually the #1 selling product across all products in Spain, which is one of the leading retailers in Dubai. In fact, several of the team are in Dubai this week. We actually we drew straws. I obviously won out here, and they're in Dubai for the week. Tough gig for them. But I should add that it's all very well talking about exports, but we're actually quite restricted in which markets we can access. So we've accessed the Middle East, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, and obviously Europe, that's it. So places like Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, with these middle class populations, India, we don't have market access. There are trade deals which roll over. But that's a little bit like heads of terms in a contract, but no one's done the actual detail protocol negotiations. So we can't actually get there, and that takes between 5 and 10 years. So we need government to support the sector to access these markets so that we're fit for the future. So, as you know, the majority of produce in the UK market is sold as private label. And one of the great things about exports is that opens up the opportunity to brand. We do this under 3 main labels: Good Natured, Ava, which is our varieties, and Angus Select, depending on the market and customer. So quite exciting. So that's the fun bit. The last few years have been extremely challenging for berry growers. Returns have failed to keep pace, quite simply, with unprecedented increases in production costs. So our cost of production have gone up 40% in the last 4 years. And that's driven mainly by labour, of course, which makes up half of these costs. So this has led to an alarming situation In a recent survey, almost half of British berry growers have said that their businesses are no longer profitable, and almost 40% don't know if they'll be in business in 2 years. And that's before the last budget, which has been an increase that will lift the cost by just shy of 11%. That's trumped in Scotland by the wages order and also the threat of having to pay the real living wage. So we're facing into a lot of challenge. And that's where Angus growers and Angus soft fruits working together comes in. So I just outlined how that happens.
So, yes, there are lots of challenges. I think we've all got challenges, and definitely within agriculture as a whole. As a cooperative, just to give you a little bit more background, as a cooperative, we are a not-for-profit company. Our primary objective at the end of the day is to improve the profitability of our members' businesses. We are governed democratically. We run off a one-member, one-vote system. We are managed by an elected board of member growers, and we have a non-executive chairman as well. And ultimately, I think one of our biggest strengths, in addition to working cooperatively, is the fact that we work so closely with the marketing district, with Angus Soft Fruits, to work in close partnership to empower the growers by enabling them to work together in accessing markets, resources and services that they otherwise would not be able to access individually. So, yeah, how have we achieved that? Because I'm sure, as you can imagine, it's not always easy, but we have a very strong close relationship. And that is really achieved by having an open dialogue, being transparent in everything we do, whether it be the pricing or commission. I think that, through open dialogue and transparency, it offers trust, it creates trust, and we've got to nurture that. And I think for those of you that are in the room that we went to Denmark a few years ago, and we met with quite a few excellent cooperatives, and trust was a theme amongst all of the cooperatives, and I think that is really key to what we do. So, yeah, our strong relationship with Angus Soft Fruits allows us to be responsive to changing tastes, customer requirements, and customer demands. It also gives us a strategic advantage to negotiate better prices and terms throughout the supply chain. And it also helps us to manage and maintain the supply chain security as well. So, yeah, challenges. Now, there are many of them, and we all feel them. And the challenges are becoming greater as profit is getting smaller, or in some cases, non-existent. So, margins are shrinking. What do? How do we actually help our members? So, we start by first economic empowerment. So we help to improve the bargaining power of the individual producers. We facilitate collective marketing and moving produce to supermarkets. And we do so with the help of Angus Soft Fruits so that we get better pricing. And again, the fact that Angus Soft Fruits can supply fruit year-round also gives us an extra, boost in negotiating prices with the retailers particularly. We also help to reduce cost of input services, and that's done through bulk procurement. So, so that kind of works towards reducing cost and improving returns. The next challenge that we deal with is competing in a competitive industry. So I know that agriculture is competitive, soft fruit is extremely competitive. And the question is, how do we remain competitive and how do we stand out above and beyond? How do we, make ourselves known in such a competitive market? And I think one of the areas that we really focus on is how to create a supportive environment for growers where we challenge them to perform in the top quartile of the industry, of the sector. We support them to produce a high quality and consistent product that makes the customers happy and coming back for more. The third bit is going to be access to resources and services. So the question is, how do we become an industry leader and how do we stay a leader and not be left behind? And to be honest, most of that comes from being able to provide the growers with a comprehensive in-house agronomy and technical service. We ensure that technology, growing techniques and knowledge is shared across the membership, across the growers and amongst the growers. So we really do encourage open discussions. We also enable the adoption of modern technology and practices as well, and that is one of our strongest suits as a group. Now, with the rising costs, the question is, how do you thrive and not just survive? And that's really done through added value. So we support our growers in meeting the challenges of remaining financially viable through economic challenges. And at the moment, we're doing quite a lot of work with our members to help them to understand their costings, really understand their business costings. And in addition to sort of helping them to make the right decisions moving forward, we also act as a gateway to funding. And because we maintain this unified structure, it also means that it makes us eligible to access larger pots of money, larger streams of funding. And I'm sure, as all of you will know, if you apply for any funding, it can be challenging. There is an administrative burden associated with it, and it's not always achievable with some of our smaller growers who simply don't have the resources to administer these types of schemes. The next one, which is always, I think as John would call it, fluffy. It's a fluffy one, and it's social and community development. Now, we all know the triple bottom line, right? People, planet, profit. And we tend to not necessarily prioritize the people on the planet part first, and especially when we're worried about profit or not making any. But it is something that we do encourage, and we foster a sense of community within the group through collaboration and cooperation. We are a family, and I suppose it does help to some degree that a lot of our members are family, but there is a solidarity there, which is very common amongst good cooperatives. We promote sustainable practices, and we do our best to encourage our members, as well as just our organisation as a whole, to reduce our carbon footprint where possible, contributing towards Scotland's net zero target. And last but not least, the one thing that we have been doing an awful lot of lately is advocacy and representation. So we act as a collective voice for our members. We work in the best interest of our members as well. So whether that be policy discussions with industry bodies or government, we're there representing them. And at the moment, with the uncertainty of the future of the PO scheme, we're doing an awful lot of that. So I think that it's really important to see that we advocate for our members and we serve as a collective voice, which is key to any good cooperative as well. And I think that in doing these things, Angus growers and Angus softwares, they create a platform for our members to compete in larger markets, which ultimately improves their livelihood and improves their communities. So. And then going on to innovation. So, as John mentioned, there's this report that came out recently, the Ernst & Young report, which talked about the UK berry industry, commissioned by British berry growers. And really the economic impact section of this report, it highlights the rising cost of labour, the availability and the productivity of the labour that is available. And as John mentioned, labour can run really anywhere between 50 to 60% of our costs, depending on the task involved. And it's, Ernst & Young have highlighted that it's a real problem, but there's a solution. And they do see that the viable solution is through technology. And technology is one area that I think that we definitely lead in. And I'm quite proud of the work that we do on the tech side. So you'll see that there's some nice pictures up here. Some of the examples of things that we're doing as a group. We trial, we are early adopters. And we are not afraid to trial things that work and sometimes don't work. But at least we know we're heading in the right direction. So you'll see there's a nice picture up there of a drone, and that's part of our precision pollination project. So that is drone pollination. As a group, we spend about £250,000 every year on buying bees in order to pollinate our crops. So if we can find a way of pollinating without having to buy as many bees, that's always a winner. And it's also more precise as well, and we'll have a better quality result in the fruit. We work with Sauber Robotics. We are using their UV light robots that treats the powdery mildew. Now, we've tested it this past year. We did about 20 hectares of soft fruit, and we actually found that there was a reduction, there's a 15% rise in produce because of the reduction in mildew. And we're actually cross-scaling that as well this year, so we'll be doing a lot more with them. We're also looking at coir. Now, we use coir primary as our primary growing medium. And to give you an idea, last year we purchased 17,500 cubic meters of coir. So we're looking at how we can reuse it, and whether there's any other alternatives we could be looking at, particularly domestic ones like heather, hemp, and wool. We also have the Mechanical Harvesting Conference, and James Porchez, who's at the very back, he's been doing a lot of work with our propagation trials as well, because we're aiming to demonstrate that the more control we have over the propagation process, that ensures better plant quality and plant health. Hopefully better product at the end of the day. And then going forward, over the next year or two, we are starting to really actively use artificial intelligence and data recognition. And that should help to enhance forecasting and yield prediction as well. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how enthusiastic we are about what we do, how we collaborate, how we're facing all the challenges that seem to be a regular occurrence. Every time we think we move past one, another one surfaces. But yeah, we can see that technology will help be the solution and will shape the future of farming. And again, we do so by working very closely with Angus Conference.
Thanks. So hopefully Angus and I have demonstrated how we harness the entrepreneurial drive of the private business, Angus Softwoods, together with its what run by Angus Growth. Just to emphasise what Angela said, key to that success in our opinion is transparency and trust. And the model that we have, which is commission-based in terms of how we set pricing, is core to that. It's not unique to Angus Softwoods and Angus stores. It's not unique, but it's common in soft fruit, and I think that is one of the key success factors. It means that our interests are aligned. So if we as Angus Soft Fruits win, then the grower wins, and vice versa. Market signals move quickly, and that allows us to react quickly with confidence. So, linking with the themes of today, I think hopefully we've demonstrated how we are managing risk together and also building resilience. As for reaping rewards, I say we're coming around the bend as opposed to turning a corner, but we are seeing signs that retailers are listening, because fundamentally we're doing all of this to mitigate as much as we can. But it has been cut to the bone, and it's fundamentally about getting paid a fairer price by retail. So getting that trust and transparency from the grower processor side into the processor, i.e. Angus Softwoods retailer, that's really key. Thank you.